answers.
Not null answers. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like I talked to Kyle. I also feel like Kyle and I both have the equitable, weird experience of like doing and saying lots of things in public settings. And so like, I feel like I'm in a constant conversation with Kyle, even though if I'm not necessarily talking to Kyle at any given moment. So it's
Always
good.
in spirit.
Oh, well, either way, it's good to have you both here. This is the technical go-to-market is what we call it, the go-to-market panel. The idea is we want to learn, okay, well, hypothetically, I've kind of picked out what I'm going to do with HubSpot and new, current, existing, whatever. And now I want to make money doing it. I want to get it out there and I want to know what other service providers are doing, how it's being rolled out as a new service, what things I should think about and do in that process. I'm going to post some questions that we have preloaded in the QA. And then, of course, if you have any questions that aren't a part of our preloaded QA, please ask them. We have the ability to change this question format up. And if you don't know Connor and Kyle, let's do intros real quick. Connor, you're right next to me in the video. So who are you? What do you do?
First? I'm the lucky person. I'm Connor. I'm the CEO of Aptitude 8, and then also A8 Labs, which is rebranding next week. So pay attention for that because exciting things coming for anybody in the HubSpot space. But Aptitude 8 is an elite HubSpot partner. We do implementation, integration, and optimization, primarily sort of technical and business consulting on platform. And that business is about 3 years old and has 40 to 50 employees, depending on who you count on which day. And that's what I'm up to. And I'm happy to talk all things HubSpot.
Yeah, and Kyle, if anyone here doesn't know you, that's odd, but if
you don't know Kyle, you should.
No, I've got to say, my favorite, so I was at Inbound last year, and my favorite moment, it was registration day, and I was just sitting near the registration desk, and people were coming up to me like, oh, Kyle, and like taking selfies with me. And after like an hour of this, the woman just like sitting a little ways down from me leaned over and was like, I'm sorry, should I know who you are? And that was my favorite person at Inbound. It's like, no, it's okay.
No, it's fine. I'm just a guy.
Like, I don't actually know what's going on here. But yeah, I am Kyle. I work at HubSpot Academy. I until this week, for the last 7 years, I've been creating trainings inside HubSpot Academy related to sales and Sales Hub mostly. And now it turns out the stuff I've been posting on LinkedIn has been deemed more impactful. So now my full-time job is to just get people super excited about HubSpot because I'm super excited about HubSpot. So lots of LinkedIn videos, lots of webinars, and lots of more stuff coming once I figure out what that is. But yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn if you haven't already. I'm very proud. My most recent post shows my ability to moonwalk, which I don't think is something most people know about me. So go check that one out. I'm getting lots of, I'm told that it's pretty good.
Yeah, Melissa, if you're listening to this, please find that post and put it in the chat, link to that LinkedIn post. Kyle Jepson will get your LinkedIn stuff in there. And Connor, yours too. Connor's a killer follow, tons of insights, obviously a lot of RevOps stuff, a lot of app building and A lab stuff that's coming out of Connor's business over there. And it's just been awesome to watch you, man. You've just taken off like a rocket in the last, I think 2 years, just the last 6 months, of course. But yeah, since we met, I think 2 years ago, and you were kind of like getting Aptitude 8 going, and it's just been a rocket ship since then. So yeah, we invited you up here because going to market with partners, you did it recently with Stripe. I want to talk about that. Kyle, you're here to talk about obviously what opportunities exist and other examples that you've seen besides Connor's, and Connor can bring on those as well. But let's start the questions with Connor around partnerships. So if you're looking at your place in the market and you're looking at revenue, obviously, but there's distractions, there's other stuff going on. What do you kind of look at when you're considering a new partnership? What are some of the main facets of that you try to look for and check the boxes towards? And you can draw on some recent examples, like I mentioned, a couple of your current partners.
Yeah, so I think the big thing on a partnership is whatever you're partnering with or adding accretive to what it is that you're trying to achieve. So if it fuels kind of what you're already focusing on. And so I think if you're a HubSpot partner, for instance, right, looking at other things that integrate with HubSpot and let you solve a wider number of problems for the customers that you're trying to serve, and you can build services around, make a lot of sense. And I wouldn't necessarily, I think for most folks, the biggest mistake that they make is kind of like, I'm going to go really wide. And I think we even did that in the early days of let's go and try to be a partner with a whole bunch of different stuff. And I think that having more relationships can definitely be a positive, but what you want to make sure of is every relationship that you're adding sort of adds kind of this flywheel effect to the rest of the relationships that you have. And you can sort of be I'm going to tackle this particular segment plus this additional piece of technology or this additional partner that I'm trying to put into the mix and kind of go and tackle it. And so when we typically look at one of the things that we're putting together right now, because we're sort of doing a big A8 Labs rebrand forthcoming, partner program push and everything else probably among HubSpot partners, is we really want to focus on how do we build service engagements that are kind of out of the box for partners to be able to go and tackle. And I think if you're primarily a services business, and whether you're a marketing agency or growth consultant or technical shop or whatever it might be, if you're going to partner with any particular technology, you want to make sure you understand, how can I wrap services around this, and how can I be able to either grow my existing customer base by putting this into the mix and adding services on top, or how is this going to get me access to a net new customer base that I don't already have? But I think the biggest thing that you need to evaluate is, can I build business around it, as opposed to, is it something that just like I can resell and kind of flip into my existing base?
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So started with a wider net, either realized or just kind of got more efficient with it. And then you're focusing in on those platform partners that you can really go far with and go deeper with. And for you, it's very strategic that you have A8 Labs too. You have to consider both components. You're not just building services, but you're building products now. And maybe some partners lend to both, and some partners are specific to service versus product. Well, we'll get deeper into that in a little bit. I'm sure people are curious about what that's like, building products on top of Operations Hub. But Kyle, there's lots going on top of HubSpot as a product, lots of features, lots of modules and new stuff and things coming. What are you most excited about? What have you seen the most opportunity built on top of with relation to HubSpot recently, or maybe coming? I don't know. Anything you can talk about?
Yeah, I'll tackle both of those. Recently, HubSpot's an interesting product to me, because we are really very focused on this kind of consumer grade user experience. Doesn't feel like an enterprise tool. It has, easy to use and smart defaults and things. But behind the scenes, there's all kinds of like APIs, and there's this thing called Hubble, and there's like all these themes and templates, and there's a lot of like really technical stuff that I think as a service provider, you can kind of make HubSpot dance however you want to make it dance, right? And I think you can add a lot of value in just knowing even what's possible there, even if you can't execute it yourself. Just being able to help people understand, yes, HubSpot works just the way it is, and you can just use it that way if that works for you. But if it doesn't work for you, there's probably all these things we can do to adjust it to make it meet your needs. Being conversant in that and being able to talk about, scoping things for developers and stuff could be really powerful. And then, of course, if you do that development work yourself, wow, now you can provide HubSpot for really anyone. So I would say that's an area we've been developing a lot in the last year or so, and I expect that to continue. Looking forward, we're in an interesting moment here, where if you think of kind of I don't know if I should call them the three core hubs, but I think of them as the three core hubs of marketing, sales, and service, that kind of front office suite. Marketing Hub has been a champion product line for a long time, right? Like kind of any way you want to slice it, it's doing great. Sales Hub has grown up a lot in the 7 or 8 years it's been around. It's really getting very feature rich and very robust. We are starting to win awards there and starting to win competitive deals there, and I expect that to continue. And then Service Hub continues to be kind of like the little tag along sibling. Works really well for certain teams, but kind of is not really going toe to toe with competitors. I would expect by the end of this year, and certainly looking into next year, we want kind of all three of them to be really robust, serious solutions for our target market of these small and mid-sized businesses, which we defined from 1 employee on up to like 2,000 employees is kind of our max now. And Sales Hub, we're almost to that 2,000 person mark. And Service Hub, we're starting to be, we're really far away actually, but we'll get there, right? And so what I think, looking at the partner org, we have, since the HubSpot's partner program launched, we've had a lot of really great marketing agencies, and we will continue to need that. CMS Hub is a great thing. Marketing Hub is a great thing. We're going to need marketing agencies for sure. But like having partners who can consult on a sales process and having partners who can talk intelligently about customer service and how to implement those tools is going to be increasingly important as time goes on. And so I think that is an obvious thing to say based on what HubSpot has been developing in the last couple of years. But I think it bears mentioning that we're serious about this. We want to own that whole front office, and we want you all to come along with us.
Love it, Kyle. And I posted a link to your moonwalking video. I finally found it. Really funny.
Kyle, I can't believe there were no editing to that video.
None. No, that's me.
Wow, that's incredibly impressive. I saw it and I was like, man, this is really, I think I watched it 2 or 3 times and I was like, Kyle's really figured out video editing. And then I just moved on with my day.
I'm worried that that's what people think. No, this is my 2020 lockdown, you guys.
That's incredible.
I was alone in a small apartment with my wife and 3 kids. And I was wearing socks all the time and I was on hardwood floors. And I moonwalked literally through the whole lockdown. And my kids, it got to the point my kids would be like, Mom, Dad's doing it again. He's doing the bad again. But it's just finally now in 2023 that I found a reason to use it. But I can only do it in socks on hardwood. I have no idea how Michael Jackson did it in sneakers on stages. Like, the man was incredible.
Yeah, Deanna, great way to keep the floors clean. Good job. Good job. Connor, let's piggyback off of not what Kyle was saying about moonwalking, but the what's coming, obviously, what you guys are super excited about, but kind of where you've transitioned. Let's talk about that. So you guys may have started here, now you're here, but why are you here, and what is the end goal of that, and where do partners fit in?
Yeah, I mean, I think for are you talking about with the lab side, or are you talking about with
oh yeah, we got to speak to you as 2 different
all above. I know it's tough. It's tough.
Yeah, no, it's since most of the HubSpotters out there are probably not as deep into app creation as you are. Sure. You are. Please follow Connor and learn more. But let's talk more about the services component.
Yeah,
what you guys are excited about, where it's headed, and comment on anything Kyle said that maybe you want to riff on, and then we want to go into go to market.
Yeah. So I think what Kyle kind of touched on, right, of this, like, what's really, really been interesting and what drew us to the program. I mean, we were kind of one of the first people really focused on CRM and ops and some of the stuff on that front. And I think the reason for that is we were deep on the Salesforce side. We were really familiar with HubSpot and all the marketing automation pieces. And we started to see a lot of the investments that were happening on core CRM. And it started to become really apparent to us that HubSpot was making a lot of investments there. And there was sort of this large opportunity on the CRM configuration and components. And I think what Kyle's referencing of like 3 core hubs, right, is like ultimately HubSpot CRM platform, and the opportunity that exists, I think, for everyone in the space is helping businesses craft that platform to be tailored to the business that they're trying to deliver, and really understanding business process, how somebody's trying to get something, what a customer experience can look like, and how someone really wants to deliver this buying experience, and then how you can use the CRM platform to build and create that buying experience across sort of each individual hub as sort of just being components of this aggregate, which is the CRM platform that powers sort of that wonderful buying experience. And I think for us, what we've kind of seen the pivot from is we really came in saying, hey, we really know Salesforce, we really know HubSpot, we're really good at making those 2 things work together. And then we kind of moved into this world of, we really know Salesforce, we really know HubSpot. If you're moving off of Salesforce, like, we can start to put you onto HubSpot. And now we're really looking at this as like, we build big, robust business processes, business problems, like large organizations that are trying to make HubSpot do things. And I don't think scale is really the best metric. It's kind of like, I'm trying to build this really incredible buying experience and really helping somebody figure out, here's how you can do that, and sort of the architecture of that. And then how do you actually build and implement and configure that, and put something and manifest something into reality, and helping a company kind of make that transition from either what they were doing before that wasn't working, or kind of creating something where nothing exists and they're trying to figure out how to do it really well for the first time.
Yeah. And one thing I just thought about as I've seen you versus some of the other HubSpot agencies, they're more marketing focused. But hypothetically, if I was known as a marketing agency and I kind of want to pull in some of those bigger projects that I know exist, but they're just not coming to me for them, those operational projects, not necessarily Operations Hub, but the back end stuff, and not necessarily RevOps, just the buttoning up, the business processes, those kinds of things. Are there some things that you guys have realized you had to do to put yourself in a position to win those bigger non-marketing projects? Anything in particular there, Connor?
I think the big thing is like invest in capabilities and then invest in stories. And I think that like you really have to do capabilities first, and you really have to be able to actually be able to deliver on something like that and deliver on it really, really, really well. I think especially if you're smaller and you're competing against folks that are either bigger or more established, like you really have to out deliver them. And that candidly, that probably means having a lower margin profile on them, and all of that sort of feeds into costing across the board. But I think first thing first is like create and invest in those capabilities, be in a position that you can deliver them exceptionally well, and then document it. I think the big thing that people miss is like, if you are doing services work, you really have to build into that customer lifecycle, into that project lifecycle, the documentation of what you've done and how you created it, and build those customer stories, because people buy that narrative, people buy that experience. They're really looking for, and like, I think as a growing services organization, ultimately you're kind of constantly figuring out what is the thing we want to be doing. Let's go create and invest and develop those capabilities. And then let's apply those capabilities to an early good fit first customer, and let's knock it way out of the park. And then let's document that whole thing, make sure that we know how to do it. And it's really, really, we have a positive experience and we have a testimonial and we have a referenceable customer. And then let's go then build that into a go-to-market engine that's sort of attached to that whole story. And I think when we think about services that we want to be able to deliver and do, that's kind of our thought process on them, is what do we need in order to be able to deliver them? Let's go and figure out how to execute against it. Let's execute against something really well. Let's document it. And then let's kind of like share it at the largest scale that we can.
Yeah, and Chris over at Measured Results Marketing focus on infrastructure and don't also do websites, content, etc. Brilliant guy. One of the very
I've got to
first
say,
partners.
Christopher, very early on in the time HubSpot was moving into this sales space, and we were first thinking like, oh, maybe we need partners to help with sales stuff too. I had a conversation with him where he talked about how like marketing is lower stakes than sales, and he compared it to like getting a sweater for Christmas or something. Anyway, I remember it really resonated with me. And the point is like, as we look at sales and as we look at how you're developing customers, like this is a pretty high stakes game now, right? Like if you develop a website and deliver it and it's not awesome or it's just okay, like that's probably fine, right? If you mess up the sales process and a bunch of money gets lost, then the company goes out of business, right? And so I think it is a matter of focus and realizing we're going to do one thing really well, or we're going to play in one particular area. I feel like Connor's hit on that theme a couple of times. I've heard similar things from like Doug Davidoff. I feel like a lot of partners go through this we want to do everything, and HubSpot's doing kind of a lot of things, and maybe you don't have to do everything HubSpot does, right? Like maybe you could just focus on one piece of it and be really, really excellent at that. And that would be better than being sort of mediocre across marketing, sales, customer service, CMS, and operations.
I'll tell you to that effect, like where we lose to people that are smaller and in some situations in our read less capable, which is probably more ego than reality, right? But where we lose is it's specialization. Like I think that's really the thing that Kyle's talking about. Like we'll lose a deal with somebody who's like, listen, these guys do, like, they know financial services, they do financial services, they understand the other infrastructure in our stack because they work in this segment and they have referenceable customers, and like their messaging is, we are really good at the HubSpot CRM implementation for financial services. And so like in those situations, and this is the nature of like, and I think there's, degrees of scale, but we're stuck being larger in this space of like, we have to address a really wide range of needs, and hyper niching, I think, is the best way to grow early on. And you have to kind of pivot out of that, or just add on additional, sort of segments that you're good at. And those could be verticals, they could be solution types, they could be, we build membership experiences, whatever it is. But I think that niching is a really good way to create specialization and differentiation.
Yeah, for sure. This idea of HubSpot 4 is really exciting to me. We're about to have a lot of space. If you want to be HubSpot for insurance companies, go own that, right? Like if you want to be HubSpot, I feel like HubSpot for real estate has gotten some attention, but HubSpot for basically everything else is just a wide open green field. And if you are the expert on how to make HubSpot work for mom and pop retail stores, like go do that. Like I think those vertical specific things is going to be more and more powerful as time goes on.
I love it. I love it. And yeah, that's kind of where we want to segue into the conversation around. Okay, let's put together a sort of go-to-market function. If you choose to go niche, whether it's category vertical specific or niche to specific service offering around one of HubSpot's product, or both. I would suggest if you're small, both. So you can build CMS websites for the real estate vertical, something like that. But then we have to choose our partners. We have to be very careful with those. Then we have to get stuff out of the partners. Connor, I want to go to you for just a recent go-to-market and some of the things that you made sure to do in that go-to-market, as well as check off before you decided to go to market. And then we'll go back to Kyle for what HubSpot's doing, anything new and exciting to enable these types of successful go-to-markets around their community and training and anything else that they've got going. But Connor, pull from a recent example. What did you do? Name names if you want to. What are some of the things other agencies should think about before they go to market with a new tech partner?
Yeah, I mean, some things I'll give you my Stripe example because you're asking so intensely, and it's actually gone much better recently. We have new people at Stripe, and they're fantastic. And so when we started to look at new capabilities and new technology partners, I think the first thing that we're doing is going and saying, okay, let's figure out how this technology works. Can we implement it into our existing our service set? Does it add value to the kind of customer that we serve? We then want to be able to go and ideally sort of do whether it's a Crossbeam or a Reveal or a Partner Hub and sort of a connection to figure out where is my overlap sort of that we have and where is there opportunity that these guys are looking for. I think if you're a technology partner, like you should bring ops to your service partners as quickly as possible. Like that's the best way to make them remember you and know you and care about you is you're bringing them opportunities. If you're a service partner, you kind of want to do the same. Like if you're going to go and start something with a new technology partner, I think you really have to be focused on strategically executing against that quickly. If you don't have a win early on, everyone kind of like gets bored and decays. But what we do is kind of go and say, okay, we're going to pursue something with this technology partner. Let's go do sort of the overlap of who are our customers that are either their customers, they need help sort of growing and expanding, maybe customer deals that have fallen apart that maybe they could use some help actually closing and moving across the finish line. And then where's their customer overlap where we can co-sell together? I think co-selling is the number one value that you can bring as a service provider. You can go deeper. You have more expertise. You can sort of spend more time with that customer to figure out how a product is going to fit into their overall stack, and being able to come in and do that makes a huge difference in terms of the ability for that technology partner to do it. So we really look at like, do they match? Where can we find those overlaps? And then how can we pursue kind of some of those conversations? And I think it's on both sides to try to think through how can I make it as easy as possible for the other party in this process to get the thing that they're looking for.
Got it. And what were you looking for with the Stripe go-to-market? Revenue at the end of the day, but is there anything in particular, maybe positioning, any sort of...
Yeah, I think the big thing is like the legitimization, right? It's us plus somebody else, and being able to say, hey, we're going to do a webinar with you. You're going to go and we're going to do a case study with you. We're going to cross-pollinate these pieces. Like I think on the technology side, usually technology organizations have far more customers and far more awareness than a services organization does, because you're just like value per customer is radically different. And so the highest value thing that you can extract from a well-known kind of brand in the technology space is getting legitimacy and rubbing shoulders with them and creating sort of awareness among those customers that here is this larger organization that you know and you trust, and they know and trust us. And that sort of parlay of trust ends up being the value to you, because ultimately if you're a services business, until someone's actually worked with you, you only sell trust. It is your only product. It is the only thing on your shelf. And the number one thing you have to invest in is how can you create more of that trust, and then you have to not lose it. But ultimately it's yours to lose. And if you have a customer you've never worked with before, trust signals are the number one thing that they're buying.
Yeah, it's like guilty by association. We say that all the time.
Yeah.
It's
Trustworthy by association.
Yeah, you should become an expert in that product, in that ecosystem. But in the very beginning, get with the partner teams and leverage what their KPIs already are. They have to do stuff with you as an agency solutions partner. So open the conversation up and get that logo next to logo. Social post tags, backlinks are always great. So that's the very, I think, par for the course for just getting value out of the partnership. But Kyle, HubSpot's obviously been the best ecosystem in the frame of being able to enable thousands of agencies to build entire businesses off of one product, which is rare. There's a few out there, but HubSpot, I think, is the best example. What's coming? What's changing? What should agencies do to get the most out of the HubSpot network if they don't feel like they are currently?
Yeah, for sure. I will just say I think my favorite thing about the HubSpot ecosystem is just how friendly it is. HubSpot we pride ourselves on our culture and stuff, but anytime I'm working with a partner or a customer or an app integration person, everyone's just great. They're all like on board with making this whole ecosystem grow, which I think is just really admirable. And so I think there's a lot of opportunities for partners to learn from one another. I know Kevin Dunn on my team runs the Agency Unfiltered podcast thing. And I definitely recommend just absorb, like you're here learning from Connor, right? Like learn from other people too. There are people who have been down this road and have a vision of what's next. And everyone seems to be kind of brothers in arms in this thing, which I think is great. Also, I will say on the Academy side, you're going to see a lot more in the form of accreditations. This is an area we're thinking about a lot. And I think I'm moving to sort of a parallel role now in my new evangelist role, but I think HubSpot Academy over 2023, you're going to see a lot more robust sort of certifications, accreditations, assessments coming from us. We really want to make that the sort of thing you can build a career on. So I think you're going to see more depth and power there, and on the partner side, more accreditations. But then also one of our top priorities for the year is to be able to certify developer types and admin types and these more kind of technical roles that live inside of HubSpot or build on HubSpot. And so just keeping up with that education, I think, will be huge. You'll see us being more and more supportive there as we move closer and closer to that ideal of being able to comfortably support a 2,000 person client, right? Like that's kind of early innings for us right now, but that is the vision we want for the ecosystem as a whole.
I love it. Connor, final thoughts. What are your suggestions to the agencies out there that are trying to get more out of partnerships and HubSpot?
One, reach out to me, and I'm happy to help you. But two, I think build solutions, build capabilities, and demonstrate those capabilities. I think I'm seeing the list of technology partners at the top of this thing, right? And this cute. I just realized it's a train just now for the first time. But I think if you go and look at these technology partners, build solutions on top of them, document those solutions. All of these companies are HubSpot included, like are looking for distribution of, wow, these people built these cool solutions. Customers want to buy solutions, not technology. And you are so uniquely positioned as a service provider to build those solutions and be able to come in and create those and distribute them and document them. And that's kind of the superpower of, if you can go and get customers, build demonstrable solutions and show people those solutions, you will create growth for yourself and also for that technology partner who then goes and distributes your solution to other people. And that's really kind of that like mecca of, if you're going to be a service provider partnering with technology companies, help them build solutions because they need you to do it.
Yeah, be that bridge, that gap between ecosystems, between products, between services, get everything glued together nicely and correctly. Like Kyle mentioned, don't just do it. Very cool, guys. This has been insightful. I wish we had a lot more time. We're rolling up on time. Kyle, I'll give you one last chance to give any final takeaways or just, what should we be looking forward to? Anything at all that we just forgot to mention that was in our line of questioning? We've got 30 seconds, and then we're going to go into giveaways where we have some stuff for a few of you and then some stuff for all of you. Go ahead, Kyle.
30 seconds. Great. I would just say, again, I would emphasize connecting with others. LinkedIn has become a place where people like me and Connor are sharing HubSpot related stuff all the time. And there are other places on the internet where you can get together and get with like-minded folks and just share ideas and build stuff. And I think don't do it alone, partner with partners and you're learn from people, find a mentor, and you're going to be great.
I love it. I love it. All right, everybody. Connor and Kyle, connect with them. We'll send you links to their profiles and stuff if you missed those, but they're up in the chat. I'm going to end this session. I'm going to start the giveaway session. So if you want to stay around, you can take part in that. And you guys, always a pleasure. Always learning a lot. Keep doing what you're doing. Really helping out. Everybody, follow these two guys. Thank you again.
Bye everybody.